We're here in Beijing, and yesterday the World Health Organization just declared this virus a public health emergency of international concern. So we decided to do this video and talk to some of our friends.
Yes, we have asked a few of our friends who are living in China what they are thinking of the outbreak and how it is affecting their life. The first person we asked is Amy from Blondie in China. She lives in China but is currently in Seoul, Korea. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hey, I am in a cafe in Seoul, South Korea. I left China about a week ago due to the virus outbreak. I was getting a little bit nervous being in China, even though I was in a relatively unaffected area of northeastern China in Dongbei. So I decided to come to South Korea. I knew there were already a couple of cases of the virus here in South Korea, but I figured it would be a lot safer than China. So I've arrived in South Korea, and yeah, there's definitely a sense of panic here. At least a half to 2/3 of people are wearing face masks. There are huge lines outside drugstores and convenience stores for face masks, where local sellers are selling from the delivery boxes as soon as they have the face mask delivered, because they're just selling like hotcakes. And after a week of searching, I have only yesterday managed to find hand sanitizer, and I'm like going into every single drugstore, every single pharmacy. It's crazy here. But I'm sure this is the case in a lot of other countries right now. I know Australia is in a similar situation, a lot of face masks being sold. But what's more alarming right now in South Korea is just the spreading of fake news about the virus that's just causing excessive anxiety about the whole situation. Like, there was a picture just shared the other day, I think a couple of days ago, of a Chinese man passed out at a subway stop, and someone has shared that on social media being like, oh my gosh, virus, it's causing a bit of hysteria, this photo. Turns out this guy was just drunk, no virus, just a drunk man. So like, there's definitely an increasing sense of anxiety here, and as a result of this panic, a lot of restaurants and bars are starting to refuse entry to Chinese citizens, regardless of whether they've had a recent history of travel to China or not. So Chinese people that are living in Seoul here, living in South Korea, are being negatively affected by this.
Amy's story is pretty interesting because she decided to leave China during this outbreak, but other people are stuck overseas and can't return, or have decided to stay in their home country because of the growing concerns. So we talked to them to see what they had to say.
Hi, this is Lucy.
This is Jamie.
And we're from the channel Life After Brain Surgery. We decided to leave Beijing about 7 days ago because it was Chinese New Year, it was our holiday, so we come to Cambodia. And we're supposed to be going back in 2 days' time, but we've decided not to. Now, the reason we've decided not to go back to Beijing at this point is because you're just getting over bronchitis. Example one. So she has an underlying respiratory problem, so it means that she's particularly susceptible to this virus. Now, we do live and work in Beijing, and we work in a school, and all the schools there have been shut down indefinitely, but they are still opening technically on Monday. Most of the international schools are opening, but they're setting up a digital learning platform so we can teach anywhere in the world as long as we've got an internet connection. So in a couple of days' time, we're actually flying down to Kuala Lumpur to stay with friends, and in about a fortnight, we're going to reassess whether or not we should go back. But I don't know how we're going to survive till then.
It's awful here.
It's terrible. I mean, what with this pool, and there's a gym up there, and the free foot massages that we get, it's just a hard knock life, really.
Hello, my name's Lettuce. I teach English at a university in Beijing. Right now I'm on winter vacation in England, which is my home country, and I don't know when I'll be coming back to China. The UK government are telling citizens to not visit China, and my boss has told me that semester 2 has been delayed, but I don't know for how long. So right now I'm stuck in England. Obviously, though, I am very fortunate. I have my friends and family here. I have activities to keep me busy, and I'm healthy. But I don't know when I can come back to China, and I really miss my life in China. So I can't wait to get back.
Many foreigners have left China, but there are also still quite a few here. So we have talked to a few of them to see how the coronavirus is affecting their lives.
Hi, I'm Nico from Nico Films. Personally, I feel like everybody just needs to calm down. I think the media is sending everybody worldwide into mass hysteria over this. Sometimes articles can be exaggerated because the more clicks they get, the more ad revenue they get. I think people need to just take a step back and think about the people who are actually affected by this, which is people who have been in contact or who are still in the city of Wuhan. I just can't even begin to imagine how stressful and how scary it is for all of those people. I think everybody just needs to have a little bit of compassion at this time. Here in Beijing, it's not that bad. There's been some confirmed cases and the government are taking precautions like public places are closed, schools are postponed, my work's postponed, and that's a good thing to try and prevent it. I'm not sure what it's going to be like when people start traveling again after the new year, but I just hope that it's going to get better soon. Stay strong, China. Wuhan, 加油!
Before the emergence of the Wuhan coronavirus, I was planning to stay a couple days in my best friend's hometown and visit his family again. But when people started information sharing more and more about what was going on, I made the decision that it was better to come back to my home city of Beijing because you never know what was going to happen next. And during this time, you can even look behind me, that this entire street that is usually very busy in a Hutong neighborhood is very, very, very empty. So it's a lot of people are staying at home, staying safe, wearing masks, wearing gloves to protect themselves. And people like me are trying to help others by finding information that's very important and very reliable because we don't want to be scared. We want to be in the know but not scared. So I think it's very important during this time for us all to stay calm, to take care of ourselves, and we'll be okay. We can ride this out.
Hey, I'm Rachel. I'm an expat living in Beijing, and today I'm walking around the streets of Beijing near Dongzhimen just to see what's happening. So there are a lot of people just choosing to stay only inside during this time and do self-quarantine. But as you can see, there are some people who are still walking around. There are some shops and some restaurants and grocery stores that are still open and running, so a lot of people are still going out to buy some things. But if you are going outside, people are wearing these masks and avoiding like big public areas, and also just taking precautions after you go outside, washing your clothes, washing your masks, sterilizing your hands, those kind of things. So if you are going outside, just make sure to stay safe, check the news, get updates, and just take care of yourself.
So not everybody is in a big city like Beijing, and so we also wanted to talk to somebody who's in a smaller village, and so we got in touch with our friend Miriam, and she had this to say about what's happening in the small villages.
Hi, I'm Miriam, an expat living in Qinghai province, northwestern China. Qinghai is a very large province, but has quite a small population, and we have about 6 confirmed cases now, but they are mostly in the cities, so no confirmed cases in our village or the nearby villages. As a village, the local little government here has blocked off the road, so there are no cars coming into the village, and there are also no cars leaving. And then as a family, we just try to stay home as much as possible, and when we go out, we wear a mask and we use hand sanitizer, wash our hands more often, just these little things as a precaution. But I feel quite safe here, to be honest. I would be more worried in a big city if there were a lot of people or just in crowded areas, but that's not the case here, so I feel okay. I also made a video a little bit more detailed about this on my channel, so you can check that if you want.
The coronavirus is not only affecting people's daily lives, it is also affecting their work. We talked to Guizhou, who owns a language school, and he is going to talk a little bit about how it is affecting his business.
Thanks to coronavirus, my whole business is taking a hit. By the way, I'm Guizhou. I'm creator of Elementary Chinese, where I teach you how to learn real Chinese, communicate and have fun so you can connect with Chinese people. Of course, that's a lot more difficult when you and Chinese people are stuck in China, quarantined. Nobody really wants to talk to each other because
新型冠状病毒
I'd planned a trip to Mexico for 3-week vacation. It was gonna be okay and fun until I realized now that I'm in Mexico, my 3-week vacation is turning more into like this indefinite, surreal limbo where I'm now needing to live here. I can't return to my home in Tianjin, China because flights are being grounded and coronavirus is spreading rapidly. So now I have to redo business selling Chinese courses and figure out how to survive. This is how coronavirus is affecting me, and I'm just waiting like a lot of people and seeing what's gonna happen.
Hello everyone out there, I am NieceyB from China with Love channel, and I'm gonna be affected directly by the situation as well as so many other business owners watching this video will, because previous to that I was going to start business February 1st, but now the time has been delayed to February 9. and we're still not sure whether that will be possible or not. That's the date when the factories and markets in Shenzhen announced they will reopen operations. At this very moment, I'm coping with stress, dealing with my clients, asking for orders, quotations, and some of them even asking for me to ship the products that they have previously ordered and purchased. So I just hope for the best outcome, business-wise, in this situation for all of us dealing with China. Thanks a lot.
Hi, I'm Simi. I'm Brazilian, living in China for 10 years now. And this is the first time we have this kind of situation. In Shenzhen, the situation is a little bad. Nobody is working, as you can see. All the offices closed. I just came here because I need to take some stuff from my office. And the government extends the holiday until day 10. They don't want people get together in closed areas such as office because they are afraid the disease spreads very fast. So they ask us to take some caution in our daily life, and this is what we are doing. Please be careful, use mask. This is not the correct mask to use. You should use the N95, but here in Shenzhen I try to buy, and I cannot find anywhere. Even this one is very hard to buy. And I ask everybody to pray for everybody in the world, because this disease is not only in China. So be careful, stay safe, and we are waiting for the next step. In my case, I will need to stay at home and working in my computer until my boss asks me to come back to the office.
Hello, my name is Lauren and I live here in Beijing, where I'm an English teacher. One of the biggest decisions is going home to the United States or to stay here in China. I think it's also difficult when going on social media and watching the news. Everything seems so extreme and so terrible when, you know, you're out here walking day to day in the streets and everything seems very normal and not much different than how it usually is. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to what works best for you and what decision is going to be best for you in the long run. If that means staying in China and keeping up your precautions, then that's the best decision for you. If that decision means going back home for a short time before coming back to China, then that's the decision for you. The way I'm thinking about it is I'm going to take this opportunity to go home and visit my family and be with my family, because right now I still have 2 weeks, possibly more, of no work. So I'm going to take advantage of this time to take a trip back home and see my family and enjoy the time I have off.
This has also been affecting people in different ways. We had some reports of food shortages, and we had one girl who actually went to the hospital to be tested for the virus. So here's their stories.
I live in Shanghai, China, and this is how the coronavirus has been affecting us. Basically, we cut our vacation short because we were worried about getting locked out of Shanghai. And when we came back that evening, we noticed there were no green vegetables left pretty much in our supermarket. And food delivery apps also didn't have vegetables. So I decided to go to the market the next morning as soon as it opened. And there were a bunch of people just grabbing. So I was concerned that maybe this is happening everywhere. But a few hours later, when I went down the street, I noticed that the vegetable markets had a lot of vegetables, and there were actually huge trucks hauling even more vegetables in. So there might just be a distrust of markets right now. There's been a lot of misinformation about pets and the virus. People thinking that you can get it from your pets and abandoning them. We actually have 4 rescues right now. 3 of them are puppies, so we only need to take 1 out on short walks. Basically, what the World Health Organization is saying right now is that wash your hands if you come into contact with any type of animal. And in terms of how we're taking precaution, I got us reusable masks. We've just been staying home.
If there's one thing that the coronavirus outbreak has done is to restore my hope for humanity. So I couldn't just sit on this. I had to share my thoughts with you on the situation. Yes, so I have had people who have never in their entire life talked to me, texting me and calling me, asking me whether I'm safe or not. And that was beautiful. I couldn't just sit on that. I had to share this. And I have had people who were willing to put their lives on the line just so they could take me to the hospital to get tested. I'm good, guys. Yes, I just had fever and I needed to get tested for the virus. I tested negative, yes. Yeah, that was beautiful, and it just put everything into perspective. It showed me what truly matters. It showed me that love is beautiful, kindness and compassion are beautiful, and it's what the world needs.
So these are just some of the stories of how foreigners have been affected here in China. Obviously, many people have been affected, and our stories aren't any more important, but this is kind of one of the ways that we are able to communicate what's going on here in China and kind of show you the situation. Some people are choosing to leave, while other people are willing to wait it out and see what happens. A lot of people's work has been affected, but our hearts really go out to everyone that is dealing with this.
Yes, our hearts go out to the people who are affected by this, the people who've lost family members or friends. So the only thing we can do is hope that this virus will pass quickly and that we can recover from this.
I'm just hoping that this isn't going to cause a spread of anti-Chinese sentiment. I know it's only natural for people to fear an epidemic. We all do, but I just don't want it to spread fear of Chinese people to a level where it's becoming a little bit just unhealthy. So yeah, fingers crossed there is a speedy resolution to all of this, sending all my thoughts and prayers out to anyone affected.
Everybody in China, I wish you all the best. Keep fighting, stay strong, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
I just hope that it's going to get better soon. Stay strong, China. Wuhan 加油!